When we're talking about a crisis, there's a couple of things that we need to know, and one of them is that young people are at somewhat of a disadvantage, meaning they're limited in their experience, they're limited in their education, they're limited in their exposure to crisis. And so it's our job as a youth worker to understand that and not to see that as necessarily that they're incapable or they have a disability. More so that as a youth worker, we're all about bringing up resilience in our clients, and bringing them to that point of interdependency, where they're depending on other people, but other people can depend on them. So we're looking at what strengths do they have, what do they bring to the table, what natural resources do they have so that they can support their own crisis. And so when we're working with clients, we're not just looking at where are the gaps, but we're also looking at where are their strengths. And so we need to look at a crisis in terms of the danger, but also the opportunity. And then so the danger in the sense that a crisis is a crisis, and we'll look at that in a second in terms of its definition. But that a crisis is a gap. It's a place where somebody has come to you in your service and have said that they need help, they need support. But it's also an opportunity. It's also an opportunity in the sense that the client has come to you. The client is looking for help. You have an opportunity to build resilience. You have an opportunity to be able to expand that client's exposure to a crisis and resilience to be able to say, you know what, I can get through this. I can network, I can liaise with a service provider. And some of that is so far out of a young person's thinking, and they wouldn't necessarily use that language, but we know that we've internalized that skill of contacting service providers and to be able to liaise and network. So what is a crisis? When we talk about a crisis, Gillian and James in their book entitled Crisis Intervention Strategies define crisis in terms of language like insurmountable obstacles by the use of customary methods, or no known responses, or individuals are prevented from consciously controlling their lives. So what we're looking at there is that the situation, the crisis that they're up against has become too large and they don't know what to do. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that the natural skills, the natural resources, the natural strengths that they've got can't meet their issue at hand. And that's where we define an issue. An issue can be challenging, an issue can be difficult, but it's not insurmountable within their own networks. It may be that you need to sit down with that client and look at that issue and say, these are the 3 or 4 different strategies that you need to really focus on to be able to move to that next level. Where a crisis is really something that within that client's known networks, within their current strengths, their current skills, they have no ability to be able to move forward, and they need your intervention and need you to be able to network and liaise and to be able to identify strategies for them to move forward, which they may not have known about prior.